exposed how a black woman transformed her future with an incredible $1 billion investment. Janelle's heart raced as she clicked on the email. The screen before her lit up with the news that could change everything. A billion-dollar investment in her vision, a tech startup aimed at revitalizing her struggling Atlanta neighborhood. The thrill surged through her, igniting a fire in her spirit. After years of juggling jobs and caring for her family, this felt like destiny. The noise of the city faded away, replaced by the pounding of her own heartbeat, echoing her hopes and ambitions. Her grandmother's laughter rang through their little home, the rich aroma of gumbo curling around the kitchen. The family was gathered for dinner, the warmth and love enveloping her like a snug hug. Yet, beneath the smiles, Janelle felt a simmering tension. She cleared her throat, her heart fluttering nervously. "I got the investment!" she exclaimed, her voice bubbling with excitement. The laughter stopped, eyes widened, and silence replaced the jubilant ambience. "That's amazing, Janelle," her younger brother Malik said, beaming. But Janelle noticed her grandmother's face clouding with worry. "Ambition can tear us apart, Janelle," she said slowly, her voice thick with concern. Those words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken history. The table fell into an uneasy hush. Janelle's heart sank. Was chasing her dreams really going to fracture their tight-knit family? Days passed. The buzzing excitement of opportunity dimmed under the weight of despair. With every thrilling vision of success, the ghost of doubt crept closer. Janelle found herself staring at the walls of their tiny apartment, the laughter now feeling distant, replaced instead by the echo of her grandmother's fears. What if she did lose herself in this new world? Would success mean turning her back on the one she loved the most? Just when she thought the light was fading, a flicker of hope reignited within her. An email pinged in her inbox. She gasped, reading the words that declared her investment secured. Elation coursed through her veins, but reality quickly crashed down. She entered boardrooms filled with skepticism and subtle discrimination. The whispers were loud, and their condescending glances pierced her heart. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Overwhelmed, Janelle started to feel trapped. The voices at home echoed the doubt brewing inside her. Had she traded family for ambition? Her grandmother's words haunted her. Stay grounded. Just when despair threatened to swallow her whole, a chance meeting with a fellow black entrepreneur sparked a flame of resilience. They exchanged stories, igniting an unwavering drive within her. But soon after, a letter arrived from her grandmother. Tears pricked at Janelle's eyes as she read the heartfelt words, pouring love and fears onto the page. The fragile connection between them felt strained. Could she really pursue this dream without shattering the foundation of her family? As Janelle stood at the crossroads, the question loomed large. Could she navigate this journey of ambition and success without losing the family that shaped her? Her heart clenched as she realized that the fight was just beginning. Janelle spent long nights pondering her grandmother's words. Each letter she received felt like an invitation to return home, like warm hugs waiting at the end of a long day. But the whispers of ambition had threaded themselves tightly into her heart, and she wasn't ready to let go. She could practically feel the weight of her dreams pressing down on her, inextricably intertwined with the love for her family and the fear of losing them. The following morning, with her coffee steaming and her laptop set like a boundless canvas before her, Janelle dialed the number of her fellow entrepreneur, Amir. He had seemed so grounded, so sure of himself, and she needed that energy. After a few rings, his easygoing voice crackled through. Janelle, what is up? Ready to take on the world? His confidence washed over her, and she felt a rush of excitement. I think I need help navigating all this chaos. Can we meet up? Absolutely, he replied, as if the very idea itself sparked a fire in him. Let us grab lunch at that new cafe downtown. You'll love it. A few hours later, they were seated at a bustling outdoor table, the sun bright and warm, a perfect backdrop for a budding partnership. As they shared ideas and ambitions, Janelle felt herself slowly unfurling. I feel like I'm walking a tightrope, she confessed. Balancing ambition and family, it's so hard. Amir nodded, a sympathetic look in his eyes. Trust me, I've been there. You want to succeed, but you also don't want to forget where you came from. That's what makes you, you. But what if I do forget? Janelle whispered, her heart aching at the thought. What if I'm so consumed by my vision that I push everyone away? Amir leaned closer, his expression intense. Use your roots as your anchor. Instead of pulling away, bring them along on this journey. It's not about hiding your dreams. It's about lifting everyone up with you. His words hung in the air like a palpable truth, igniting a small spark of hope in Janelle. Maybe he was right. Maybe she could find a way to intertwine her burgeoning success with her family's love. She pictured her grandmother's proud smile, and her brother's gleeful enthusiasm, both standing beside her as she stepped into this new world. When she returned home, the apartment felt different. The familiar sense of dinner felt warmer. The laughter of her family hung in the air like music. She gathered everyone around the table, their faces illuminated by candlelight, shadows dancing across the walls. I want to share something with you all, she began, a nervous tremble in her voice. This isn't just my dream. It's ours. Malik's eyes lit up, and her grandmother's wary expression began to soften. What do you mean? Her grandmother inquired, her brow still slightly furrowed. I got $1 billion investment, but I want to use it to create opportunities right here in our neighborhood. I want us to grow together, to build a future together. Silence stretched out, thick with anticipation. Let us work on it as a family, she added, her voice clear and steady. You have always supported me. Now, let us support each other in this. I need you. Just as the weight of her words settled in, Malik jumped up, his voice bursting with enthusiasm. This is amazing, Janelle. We can do this. Together. But her grandmother's eyes didn't glimmer with joy just yet. You have to promise that you won't get lost, Janelle. We don't want to lose you to the ambition. That one sentence struck Janelle deeply. With the weight of her dream bearing down on her, and the fear in her grandmother's eyes hanging like a storm cloud, she felt the tension rise again. Could she really straddle both worlds, bringing her family along without losing herself in the process? The question lingered, echoing in her heart, promising a tumultuous journey ahead. But as she locked eyes with her family, Janelle felt a renewed sense of commitment stir within her, and knew she had to find a way. With a mixture of determination and fear swirling in her, she felt uncertainty creep in again. What challenges awaited her on this path? Would everyone truly stand by her side as they took this leap together? The road ahead opened up before her, uncertain yet thrilling, and she couldn't help but feel that the fight was only just beginning. The days following that family dinner were a whirlwind for Janelle. She tossed and turned at night, her grandmother's words playing in her mind like a haunting echo. Every time she closed her eyes, she could see the faces of her family, each one filled with expectations, love, and a hint of concern. At work, she channeled her anxiety into action. Ideas flowed out of her like a rushing river. But as she scribbled notes and created plans, the fear of losing her family's support loomed over her. In moments of quiet, she could feel the weight again. Each time she envisioned her success, a flicker of doubt would gnaw at her heart. Could she really pull this off without sacrificing her roots? Amir reached out, inviting her to a networking event. You need to meet new people, he encouraged. Let them see the magic in you. His words wrapped around her like encouragement, but still, doubt lingered. The evening of the event arrived, and Janelle stood in front of her mirror, fixing her hair. She wore her favorite blazer, the one her grandmother had picked out for her first job interview years ago. You can do this, she whispered to her reflection. The nerves danced in her stomach, but she was determined. When she entered the crowded hall, the energy buzzed around her like static electricity. People were laughing, chatting, exchanging business cards as if they were currency. It was exciting yet daunting. Janelle spotted Amir, his familiar smile breaking through the crowded sea of strangers. She could feel her heart rate pick up, a mix of hope and trepidation. There you are? I'm glad you made it. He greeted her with open arms. As they navigated through the crowd, conversations flowed. Janelle introduced herself, her voice steady as she unveiled her dream of revitalizing their community, weaving in the threads of her upbringing. You see, this isn't just about me. My family is my backbone. We're all in this together, she explained to a curious investor. His gaze sharpened, intrigued by her sincerity and passion. For a moment, she felt the heavy shadow of doubt lift. But as the night progressed, she felt those familiar pangs of fear return. A successful woman stepped up to her, exuding confidence and ambition. It's admirable that you want to bring your family along, she said, her tone friendly yet sharp. But remember, this business world is ruthless. You have to prioritize what's best for you first. Those words hung in the air like heavy fog. Janelle's heart sank. What if she truly couldn't balance everything? What if her ambitions pushed her family aside? Amir caught the shift in Janelle's energy. He leaned in, whispering, "Don't let fear override your resolve. Remember why you started this journey." She forced a smile, but in her heart, chaos roared. The event ended, but the questions multiplied in her mind. Driving home, the city lights flickered past her window, but all she could see was her grandmother's worried eyes. When she reached her apartment, familiar shadows welcomed her. The warmth of home was a refuge as she stepped inside. Yet, the weight of her choices felt almost tangible now, pressing against her chest. Just as uncertainty began to take root again, her phone buzzed. An email notification flashed across the screen, an invitation to pitch her idea to a major investor. Heart racing, she clicked on it, confrontation rushing to the forefront. Her ambitious journey was unfolding before her. But at what cost? Janelle stared at the screen, heart pounding, caught between opportunity and loyalty. Would she rise and seize this moment, or would she lose sight of what truly mattered? In that moment, everything hinged on her next move. Janelle's fingers hovered above the keyboard, the bright light illuminating her wide eyes, as she tried to catch her breath. This was it, the chance she had been dreaming of, laid out in front of her. Yet, even with such an incredible opportunity, the turbulence of her emotions swirled like a storm within her. Should she jump at this chance or hold back to protect her family? The clock ticked loudly in her apartment, each second echoing in the stillness around her. She felt like she was suspended in time, caught between ambition and loyalty. Was it selfish to want more for herself? The little girl who used to play in her grandmother's garden came to mind, her laughter breaking through the heavy silence of the past. She had believed that dreams could blend seamlessly with family, but now those beliefs felt like an illusion. Taking a deep breath, Janelle finally started typing, pouring her ideas into the email. The thoughts flowed out like a stream of consciousness. She wanted to bring a change not just for herself, but for the community she loved deeply. It wasn't just numbers or profits, but homes and hearts that would be impacted. She wrote furiously, each sentence laced with intention, clarity giving way to a building excitement. With each word, the doubt ebbed, replaced by a sense of divine purpose. But just as quickly, a haunting shadow crept and her grandmother's worried expression lingered in her mind. Would she be proud? Or would her legacy fade if ambition consumed her? Janelle glanced at the clock. Time was slipping away. She couldn't afford to lose this opportunity. She clicked send, her heart racing with exhilaration and terror. Silence enveloped her. For a moment, all she could hear was her breath. The weight of her decision pressed heavily on her chest. What if she failed? Would her family see her as a traitor, abandoning the values that anchored them? Then her phone buzzed again, a reply. She felt a jolt of adrenaline as she opened it. The investor was interested. They wanted to set up a meeting. Joy swelled in her chest, mixing with an anxiety that threatened to choke her. She needed to prepare. Every fiber of her being screamed for her to be ready. Janelle dived into the whirlwind of research and rehearsal, her apartment transforming into a war room of sorts. Charts, notes, even family pictures cluttered her desk, grounding her passion in truth. Each practice pitch, each reflection on her vision blended professionalism with her personal stakes. This was for her, for them. Days flew by, excitement battling anxiety. The fabric of her life wove tighter, every thread representing a commitment to her dreams and to the family that made her who she was. The phone call came to confirm the meeting, pushing her heart into overdrive. On the day of the pitch, Janelle dressed meticulously, again reaching for the blazer that felt like a protective talisman. As she stared at herself in the mirror, she could see the spark of determination in her eyes, a reminder of the little girl she once was, tethered to dreams. Today, she was a woman ready to fight for that spark, a beacon for her family, her community. Walking into the meeting room, everything fell into slow motion: the clatter of chairs, the insistent hum of thoughts, the intensity in the air. Janelle sensed the weight of countless expectations pressing down on her shoulders. But what she didn't expect was the question that would shake her foundation. Why should we invest in you, Janelle? Time stood still again, swirling around like a hurricane. Would her voice hold firm against this tide? Would she let her passion flow, or let fear drown her light? The answer to that question could change the course of everything. Janelle's heart thudded against her ribcage, drowning out the ambient noise of the boardroom. She felt stripped bare under the bright, fluorescent lights, all eyes fixed on her. Each person seated at the polished table was a gatekeeper to her dreams, their expressions unreadable as they awaited her reply. Why should we invest in you, Janelle? The question hung in the air, dense and expectant. What were the right words? She thought of her grandmother, of the wisdom she carried into every endeavor, and of the community they had built together, brick by brick. Closing her eyes for a brief moment, she could almost hear her grandmother's voice guiding her. Stand tall, speak truth. Because I understand the struggle, she started, her voice more assured than she felt. I grew up in this community. I saw the houses that were decaying and the lives that were left behind. As she spoke, the passion in her chest lit a fire in her voice. I saw kids who were just like me, dreaming of a better life. Those dreams deserve a chance. She met their gazes, letting her conviction ripple through the tense silence. We're not just talking profits, we're talking impact. I know the local businesses, the families, and their stories. I can bridge the gap between investors and the community. Together, we can create something transformative. A slight nod accompanied her statements from one of the investors, a wiry man in glasses, but another, a woman with a firm jaw, remained unmoved. Impact is great, Janelle, she said, her tone cool, but what makes you different from any other proposal we see? What will you do when things get tough? Her words struck Janelle like a slap, a visceral challenge that scraped against her hope. What would she do? Questions cascaded in her mind, the clock ticking loudly in the background, echoing her racing thoughts. Life is tough. I know that better than anyone, she replied, swallowing hard. But I refuse to let that be the end of my story or my community's story. I persevered through hardship, and that is the experience I'll bring to this project. I want to back down. Failure isn't an option. The energy in the room shifted. The investors were intrigued, their attention honed in on her voice. She could see them shifting slightly, their bodies mirroring a newfound interest. But more importantly, I have roots here, Janelle added gently. I would be honored to forge partnerships with those who truly care about this community. I want to uplift, not take. I don't want to be another investor who walks away. I want to build a future together. For a heartbeat, silence enveloped them again, but this time it felt different, charged with possibility. She could see hesitation crack in the woman's facade, just a flicker of curiosity. Janelle felt a spark ignite within her. She leaned into it, drawing strength from the stirring hope that bubbled beneath. What I'm asking for isn't just your investment. It's your faith, she continued, her voice gaining strength, in me, in us, in a brighter tomorrow. Just like that, the whole room shimmered with something electric. She could feel it in her bones. They were listening. Then, the lead investor broke the silence, leaning forward, a glimmer of interest in his eyes. What are the next steps then, Janelle? If we move forward with this? A wave of relief cascaded through her, but now, her heart thudded with anticipation. This was only the beginning. I'll prepare a detailed proposal outlining our next steps. I want to ensure we're aligned, she replied, a smile starting to bloom on her face. But as she finished, doubt crept back in, reminding her of what she had at stake: her family, her legacy, the very essence of who she was. Just one last thing, the woman interjected, her brows furrowing. Are you truly prepared for the challenges this will bring? This journey won't be easy. Janelle took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came next. But how much could she really do to protect herself and her community when the path became rocky? The question lingered in the air. Was she truly ready to fight for the life she envisioned? What if the battle left her stripped of everything she held dear? The meeting wasn't over yet. The real challenge was just beginning. The atmosphere crackled with unspoken tension. Janelle felt as if she were on a tightrope, suspended between hope and dread. She glanced at the other investors, who were whispering among themselves, their faces a tapestry of skepticism and intrigue. Her heart raced again, but this time it wasn't just the nerves. It was the fierce determination pairing with the fear. What if I don't have what it takes? She thought, battling the tide of self-doubt threatening to drown out her resolve. But she steeled herself, reminding herself of why she was here. She thought of the faces of children whose futures depended on people like those in the room. She wouldn't let them down. I'll show you, she declared, her voice steady now. I may not have all the answers, but I have the heart to lead, and that's where this journey begins. Whatever the challenges, I'll meet them head-on because that's who I am. The stoic investor with the firm jaw raised an eyebrow, her expression softening just slightly. Conviction is admirable, Janelle, but businesses require more than just heart. What is your plan when setbacks happen? Hesitation seeped in. Moments of defeat loomed over her like storm clouds. She thought of her grandmother again, the late-night talks, the sacrifices made to provide a better life, and the relentless strength despite challenges. Think ahead, grow thick skin, she could hear her say. Janelle took a breath, allowing a brief moment of vulnerability to show. I plan to foster open communication with my investors, she asserted, her voice unwavering. When there's a setback, we will face it together. Transparency will be my mantra. I want to bring everyone on this journey with me. She could feel the room shift again, the tension evolving into something more collaborative. A few nods from the table reaffirmed her direction. The wiry man finally spoke. And if they don't recognize your voice, Janelle? How will you make sure your community is heard? Her heart fluttered. They were challenging her, pushing her to think critically, and she loved it. By creating platforms for dialogue, she answered swiftly. Town hall meetings, online forums. I'll drive engagement, ensuring every voice matters in this transformation. I want the community to feel ownership of their future. It's our shared journey, after all. All right, I see your passion, the lead investor said, his voice measured, but ensure there's a safety net in place. Success depends on resilience, not just hope. Janelle nodded. Absolutely. I'll assemble a team that mirrors the diversity of our community experts, who are invested in its future. If the winds change, we will adapt. This plan needs to grow and breathe, just like the community itself. Hope surged within her, fueling every word. She looked around the room, not only as a presenter, but as a partner. This was about more than just money. It was about creating a legacy. Let us make this an investment in growth, not just for the project but within us as a community, she suggested, her voice rising with enthusiasm. Together, we can redefine success. We can shift the narrative to one of empowerment, resilience, and hope. The investors paused, exchanging glances, some now sporting faint smiles. But just as she believed she had reached them, the woman leaned back, her expression inscrutable. You're putting a lot of faith in this community, Janelle. What if they let you down? Janelle met her gaze, unwavering. And what if they don't? What if they rise together, and we create something truly amazing? Sometimes, it takes a leap of faith to change the game. There it was again, the crackling exhaustion that comes before clarity. Fear both freed her and held her captive, but it was the spark of hope that really ignited her passion. As the meeting drew to a close, a quiver of uncertainty lingered in Janelle's chest. Would they take a chance on her? Would she really be able to navigate the turbulence ahead? All they needed were the right questions, and she had the answers at least for now. Would she be able to keep those answers flowing as challenges arose? The next few days would decide everything. Would she rise to meet the storm she felt brewing, or would it sweep her away? The end of this chapter was just the beginning of her story. Janelle spent the next few days in a whirl of motion. Each morning she awoke with a flicker of hope, the taste of potential lingering on her tongue, and by nightfall, that same hope often dimmed into whispers of doubt. The weight of expectation sat heavy on her shoulders, a constant reminder of what was at stake. She threw herself into her plans, sketching ideas for community forums and team structures late into the night, losing herself in the world she envisioned. Weeks passed since her presentation, yet the investors remained non-committal, keeping her on edge. She found herself constantly checking her email, heart pounding with every ping that echoed through her small apartment. Her phone, usually a source of comfort, now felt like a ticking clock, counting down to an undefined moment of truth. One dreary Wednesday afternoon, when the skies matched her mood, a message pinged into her inbox. It was from the lead investor. Her heart raced as she opened it. The words were crisp but vague, expressing interest and suggesting a follow-up meeting. In one sense, it felt like a small victory, but fear crept back. What if she stumbled again? What if they still didn't take her seriously? Determined not to let the storm of what-ifs undermine her confidence, Janelle spent the following days preparing. She researched every detail of her proposal, connecting with possible team members, and rehearsing her words in front of her bathroom mirror. If she had learned anything in the last weeks, it was that doubt dissipated under the light of preparation. The day of the follow-up meeting arrived. Her pulse quickened as she walked into the conference room. The investor sat with expressions ranging from stone-faced to questioning. She immediately noticed the wiry man from before, his gaze sharper than ever. Swallowing hard, she chose to believe in her vision and the people behind it. "Thank you for coming back, Janelle," the lead investor started, and a flicker of warmth flickered in Janelle's chest. We're interested in knowing about your community outreach initiatives, particularly how you plan to engage those who are skeptical." Taking a deep breath, she launched into her presentation, her voice steady and clear. She detailed her plans for town hall meetings, open forums, and collaboration with local nonprofits. The more she spoke, the more she felt energy building in the room, a sense of collaboration vibrating beneath the surface. It was more than just a sales pitch. It was a pledge to honor the voices that had been silent for too long. With each slide that flicked by, Janelle noticed nods and murmurs of approval. The skepticism began to crack, and the seeds of possibility took root. Then, the quietest woman at the table leaned in, her expression shifting from impassive to engaged. "Janelle, what about the impact of failed outreach?" she asked. "What if the community doesn't engage as you hope?" Janelle locked her gaze onto hers. This was the moment where hope met reality. Failure can guide us. It doesn't equate to the end. It's an opportunity for learning. If a method doesn't resonate, we'll pivot. The dialogue is what keeps us relevant. Every setback will make us stronger and more attuned to our community's needs. A silence hung thick like the heavy air before a storm. And just when Janelle thought she had lost them, the wiry man broke the tension. "I like your approach, but I want to know, how far are you willing to go to ensure accountability from yourself and your team?" Janelle felt adrenaline surge through her. "As far as it takes. I'll establish measures of success that advocate for transparency and inclusivity. My goal isn't just to succeed by numbers, but to foster trust. People aren't just stakeholders. They're the heartbeat of this project." The room shifted again, whispers of agreement swelling like a tide. For the first time, Janelle felt a sense of connection, the pulse of possibility humming in her ears. As the meeting drew to a close, the lead investor spoke again. "All right, Janelle. We see promise here. Let us keep this dialogue rolling." Her heart soared. This was at the edge of transformation. But beneath the excitement simmered a thought that sent a chill down her spine. She hadn't conquered her fears yet. The hard part lay ahead. Would she rise to the challenge when faced with real-world pressures? The journey ahead held more than she had bargained for. Janelle left the meeting with a whirlwind of emotions swirling inside her. The polished conference room door closed behind her, and she felt both lighter and heavier at the same time. The approval from the investors ignited a flicker of hope, but underneath, the worry of expectations hung like a shadow. As she stepped into the cool air outside, Janelle took a deep breath. The weight of possibility filled her lungs as she glanced up at the towering buildings of the financial district. People rushed by, each absorbed in their own lives, yet here she was, on the cusp of something monumental. The vibrant pulse of the city filled her with determination. When she got home, the silence of her apartment felt deafening. She opened her laptop, eager to start mapping out her next steps. The glowing screen illuminated a fresh wave of ideas, plans for outreach that would engage the community in real conversation. She envisioned tables in parks, gatherings in community centers, and voices being heard that had long been quiet. Janelle could almost see her vision taking shape, becoming a living entity that would breathe life into those around her. But even as excitement hummed beneath her skin, doubts slithered back in. What if the community remained indifferent? What if she failed to unite them? The thought gnawed at her insides, pulling her thoughts back to the meeting. She couldn't afford to falter now. She needed a plan, a strategy that would not only win investors over, but also truly engage the hearts of her community. That night, sleep eluded her. Janelle tossed and turned, thoughts racing, conversations running through her mind like a broken record. She imagined her team, what they could look like, the diverse array of voices that would join her mission. She longed to gather a crew that believed in the same vision, one that not only sought profit but actively worked toward healing divides and amplifying the marginalized. The next day, she reached out to local community leaders, activists, and even a few dissenters she thought she could persuade. She wanted everyone in her circle. She prepared a list of names, people she respected and admired, and began drafting personal invitations for an informal meeting. She needed to invite them into her dream. As the days went by, Janelle felt her excitement bubble up again. She scheduled a community meeting, set to take place at a local community center. Now, her task was to create an agenda that would give everyone a sense of ownership, a belief in their influence. The clock ticked down to the day of the community meeting. Each minor setback felt monumental, like delayed trains and spilled coffee, testaments to the pressure mounting within her. Janelle spent the night before assembling materials, creating pamphlets that outlined her vision. She wanted to cater to every community member, from the grizzled veteran, who had seen it all, to the young dreamers, who were just beginning to find their footing. Finally, as she set out for the meeting that day, she felt a familiar weight, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Walking into the community center, Janelle saw a crowd already gathering. Murmurs of skepticism and curiosity filled the air, and she fought the urge to retreat. But as she climbed onto the makeshift stage, her heart pounded with purpose. She was here not to convince them, but to spark dialogue. With each word she spoke, she imagined herself reaching beyond the doubts, connecting with the people who shared her desire for progress. She reminded herself that this was what she had been preparing for. As she delved into the plans and opened the floor for questions, voices rose in a chorus of concern and excitement. She had faces to look into, a community to engage, and this was only the beginning. Just as she felt the tide of conversation shifting in her favor, a man in the back stood up. "I want to know," he said, his voice steady but burdened. "What do we do if this all falls apart?" Janelle's heart sank. It was the question she had feared, the fear that loomed large in the backdrop of her ambition. Her every instinct told her to deflect or slide over it, but instead, she chose honesty. "We will learn together. We'll adapt and find new ways to connect, to grow. If we stand as one, no setback will beat us." His eyes studied her, searching for sincerity. The room held its breath. Would her words resonate, or were they just empty promises? As she absorbed the weight of their gazes, the reality of accountability washed over her. She had put her heart on the line. Now she had to prove she could hold it together. And in that moment, she realized that the hardest part was not the presentation or even the investors. It was showing that she could transform doubt into trust, fear into hope. But would she have the strength to carry them all through the impossible challenges that lay ahead? As the room began to stir after her statement, Janelle felt the tension ebb slightly, but uncertainty still charged the air. She could see the shadows of doubt lingering on some faces, mixed with glimmers of hope. Each person there brought their own stories, their own struggles, and she needed to acknowledge that. It was crucial to make this effort about them, not just her. "Let us talk about what we all want," she said, her voice firm, nearly echoing off the walls. "What do you need from this project? How can we craft something that speaks to you?" Quiet murmurs peppered the crowd as ideas began to blossom. A woman near the front spoke up first, her voice soft but clear. "I just want a place where my kids can feel safe. I want resources that help families, not just those with money." "Exactly," Janelle responded, nodding enthusiastically. "Safety, community, those are at the core of this. We can build programs that support kids, provide tutoring, after-school activities. Let us brainstorm how we can bring those resources right here." Encouragement rippled through the crowd. Ideas exploded alongside apprehensions, voices meshing into a collective hum of passion. A young man raised his hand, sharing a vision for job training programs, while another spoke of connecting local businesses with aspiring entrepreneurs. Janelle felt her heart swell. They were on the path to transformation, each idea a stepping stone toward a brighter future. Yet in the back of her mind, that earlier question lingered like a weight, reminding her to stay wary. What if the momentum didn't hold? What if they hit walls she hadn't anticipated? Yet still, she pressed on, navigating the conversation gracefully. Each suggestion emboldened her spirit, each nod of agreement sparked a flame of excitement. She began writing key points on a whiteboard, noting how the community's power emerged during the dialogue. They were creating a tapestry of thoughts woven with hope and purpose, their voices fueling a movement. Toward the end of the session, a middle-aged man stood and caught her eye. "You know, we've heard a lot of promises before, young lady. How can we be sure this will be different? How can we trust you?" His words hit hard. Janelle took a moment to collect herself, feeling the heat of vulnerability rise to her cheeks. "You're right," she said, her voice steady. "I understand the skepticism. Trust is built, not given. I'm here to earn it, and I can't do it alone. Together, in this room, we can hold each other accountable. We need to lay the foundation now, brick by brick." Silence fell over the crowd, the weight of her honesty weaving through the air. She could see people absorbing what she said. It was real. They were allowing her words to sink in, cautiously opening the door to hope. As the meeting concluded, she felt invigorated yet exhausted. The echoes of their collective vision lingered in her mind, but reality also settled heavily on her shoulders. The path ahead was fraught with risk, and she felt the fatigue of responsibility wrap around her like a cloak. Janelle stepped outside into the fading daylight. Her breath hung in the cool autumn air. As she walked, she replayed the evening as dialogue, shaking off the exhaustion with each step. But doubt threatened again, wrapping her in anxious thoughts. What would be her next move? Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket, pulling her from her spiraling thoughts. She pulled it out, her fingers trembling slightly. It was a text from Mariah, her childhood friend and a local journalist. The message read, "Hey, can we talk? Something big is happening that I think you need to know about." Janelle's stomach flipped, her heart racing as she considered what this could mean. Was this a risk, a new opportunity, or a challenge? What could possibly happen next, and how would it reshape the fragile foundation they were starting to build? Janelle stood in the fading daylight, her mind racing as she read the text. Something big is happening. Those words echoed in her head, filling her with both curiosity and trepidation. She dialed Mariah's number, feeling the tension build as the phone rang. When Mariah answered, her tone was urgent. "Janelle, you want to believe what I've just learned. There's an online platform looking to fund community-driven projects across Atlanta, and they're aiming to highlight transformative stories. They're specifically looking for projects that focus on empowerment." Excitement bubbled within Janelle, but alongside it came that familiar anxiety. "What does this mean for us?" she asked, her voice slightly breathless. "I think we should pitch your project. They're eager to hear voices from the ground level, and your meeting might just be the opportunity you've been waiting for," Mariah continued. "It could bring in visibility and potential funding. We can turn your vision into a digital story, show the personal impact, and you can highlight the community's needs while gaining support." Janelle's heart soared. This could be the moment she needed to launch her purpose-driven initiative. "Yes. Let us get to work. We need to make it perfect, and I want to ensure the community feels represented in this story." Over the next few days, the energy in Janelle's life shifted. She and Mariah blended forces, crafting a pitch that perfectly captured the essence of their neighborhood: the heart, the struggles, the visions for a brighter future. Janelle revisited the ideas shared in the community meeting, meticulously addressing each concern and proposal. The collective voice of her community became the backbone of this new project. She felt a sense of unity among her team, and for the first time, she could envision a path forward that intertwined her dreams with the dreams of those she loved. The day of the pitch arrived with a mix of jittery excitement and determination. Janelle stood in front of her laptop, the camera framing her carefully. "Okay," she whispered, inhaling deeply as she pressed record. "This is for us." As she poured her heart into the presentation, merging her own story with those of her community, she felt electricity surge through her veins. She painted a vivid picture of what their neighborhood could achieve, transforming challenges into opportunities. She spoke passionately about the collaborations they sought to build and the spaces for dialogue that were so desperately needed. After wrapping up the presentation, Janelle pressed send with a blend of anxiety and thrill. She turned to Mariah, anticipation bubbling over. "Do you think they'll resonate with this?" "They'll have no choice but to see the power in this." Mariah smiled confidently, and Janelle felt a flicker of hope leap inside her. Days passed, each moment stretching into an eternity. Janelle kept busy, meeting with community leaders, discussing new initiatives, and establishing connections that would scaffold the project's foundation. She weaved each thread carefully, ensuring everyone felt a sense of belonging in this blossoming dream. Then, one Friday afternoon, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from Mariah. "You've got to see this. Check your email." Janelle's heart thundered in her chest as she opened her inbox, a sense of dread mixing with anticipation. And there it was, the subject line glowed, "Your project, selected for funding." Tears pooled in her eyes as she read the email, her heart racing with overwhelming emotion. They had not just recognized her vision, but believed in it. She felt the warmth of hope wrapping around her, and for the first time in a long while, she realized that her quest wasn't solely about her ambition. It was about standing with her community, making a ripple of change. Janelle rushed to call Mariah, her voice catching in her throat. "We did it!" she exclaimed, her words spilling out in a breathless rush. "Yes! You're going to lead something incredible!" Mariah cheered. "Gather everyone! We have a community to celebrate!" As Janelle gathered her family, friends, and those from the meeting, an air of electricity enveloped the room. They plugged into one another's stories, sharing excitement and pride for the journey they had embarked on together. The scent of gumbo filled the air, and laughter mingled with the infectious energy. "Remember when we feared this moment?" Janelle began, looking at her grandmother. "Today proves that we can chase dreams while holding on to our roots." Her grandmother's eyes shimmered, pride overtaking the earlier fears. "I see you, Janelle. You never let go of us." With every moment that passed, Janelle realized that this was just the beginning. The community's voices, hopes, and dreams were now intertwined with her own. Fear still lingered in the shadows, reminding her that challenges lay ahead. But now she had strength in numbers. Janelle felt ready for anything, her heart pounding with purpose. And in that transformative moment, she understood something profound. The power of community weaving together ambitions and dreams was far more meaningful than any solitary journey ever could be. As they raised a toast to their future together, Janelle beamed. Together, they would shape their destinies. This was merely the beginning of a lasting legacy. Now is your turn to be part of this journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring journey. This is the moment to show your support, and you need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share and make a difference.